Okay, this video is in support of CS 1200, and we're going to describe the Astah UML editor, and we're going to cover these topics. So, applying for a license from Astah, downloading and installing Astah on your local PC, and then how to create a project, and then within the project how to create and build an activity diagram, and then finally submitting your work. So to obtain a license, we go to the Astah site, and then up in the corner here we have students. So Astah is a licensed software, but they are giving out, or they're kind enough to give students a free license. And so here is the form. So you need to use your UTD. So they will not, this is how they determine whether you're a student by the UTD by your having an EDU email address. And then the name of the school and your name and those. And then apply now. I'm not going to do it because I've already downloaded a license. They will, there's a robot at the other end of this email, and it just about immediately sends out a license file to you, and of course it's delivered to your email address. Okay, so having done that, so while you're waiting though, then you need to download the executable or the installation. So I hit downloads, and you want the UML. So none of these other will work. Now there's my understanding there's an installation for Mac as well, for Apple, and so we're going to download the Windows. Take a second. Doing its thing. There it goes. Okay, let's get rid of that. All right, so just a pretty standard thing. All right, that already exists because I have used this before. Oh, let me think of something. I don't get a complete installation to demonstrate because the license is out there, and normally I wouldn't care. Program files. Stop. Oh yeah, okay. So let's delete that. I'm going to delete it so you're done all. All right. Now I think we'll have you'll get a better experience in this video. Okay, so take the default. It's written in Java, by the way. And yeah, go for it. Oh, actually, I want to create this drive menu. Yeah. Okay. And launch. All right, now it should complain. No, it's not. I thought it would complain about not having the license file. But it seems to be probably tucked away someplace else. So what happens is this is the XML, I'm sorry, well, the license is delivered into your email as an attachment, of course, and it's in a zip file. And you open up the zip, and then here is an XML file. So I'll drag that out there. Well, I guess I already have one, but let's do it again. and then it'll prompt you, but it'll bring up this GUI. It'll bring up this dialog. So I went to help, license, and then it'll ask you to set the license key and then navigate to wherever you dropped the XML file, and then it will select the license key, and then it's installed. So then you should be able to restart without it prompting for the license. Okay, I'm going to break off to another video just to be sure this one's recorded correctly, and we'll pick up on using Astah. Next, let's look at creating a project and working with the diagrams. Okay, so to create a new project, create a new file, project, same thing, and then we'll save it, and let's do that for now. Oh, I did that right. Must have screwed up. Open. Oh, I did open a file, not save a file. It's early in the morning here. Student desktop. Come on. All right. So now we have a project, and so this is the editor, and this is a fairly. It's a really nice, actually, UML editor for building UML or Unified Modeling Language diagrams. And again, UML is a notation, and this is an editor for that notation that can be used to describe the structure of object-oriented systems or programs. And it can describe many aspects of a program, static and dynamic. But that's getting off in software engineering. So, as you know, we're using the activity diagrams, which is one of the many diagrams that Astah can, or that UML defines and Astah can build. So go to diagram. So yeah, here are all the diagrams: class, use case, state machine. So all of these are in support. Of course, we want a new activity diagram. So our diagram shows up here. We could rename it if we want. BP1, just coming up with a name, it doesn't matter. Okay, so then having selected the diagram, it brings up the editor for that diagram, and here are all the controls that we described in class. Now I'm going to get rid of this frame. There's nothing wrong with the frame, I just don't like it, so boom, it doesn't matter. So we're going to build a simple diagram, and I will actually then show the use of the swim lanes as well. So remember, every process we're using this diagram to describe a process, and every process has a input, a start, and so there it is. So there's our start symbol. Just clicked and dragged, and then we start with what they call actions, because I was calling task, but regardless, you want to place one, and then you're off to the races. So you don't have it in front of me. I'm going to open up the bake a cake example. Just a second. Off screen, poking around at something here. 1 second. And 1 second. There it is. And slides. And there it is. So bake a cake. So I'm just going to use the bake a cake example. And so and so on. I'm not going to do the whole thing over again. Notice how it lines stuff up, so it's easy to do. I'm sort of anyway, a bit autistic, so I really like that. All right, then so if you want a little simpler shortcut is you can just double tap on the screen on this area, and it just pops up a new task for you. And then just line it up, drag it out, and you're off. So I'm not going to do the whole thing, but there was a couple of other steps here, and then there was finally that point, that one, the task or activity where we made a decision. So let's look at that. So there are two outcomes. Now I can right click and left click. Yeah, right click and drag the whole field. Then so there were two options: either it's ready or not ready. So if it was ready, not ready, I'm sorry. I'm gonna wait 5 minutes. And if it was ready, come on, it's a little finicky. There it goes. Place and in oven. Okay, so we need two arrows. Now that's not a trick. Just drag two arrows. But because there's two, this is a choice, and we need to express the condition. So we're going to have one or two conditions. Yeah, it's not lining up. That really bugs me. There it goes. So we're going to have one. So what you do to specify the condition is you select the edge or the arrow thing, and then you write your condition here, and it's really oven at temperature. No, it's not at temperature. Oops. And then just click off, and there it is. And you can drag that around to place it a little bit nicer. And then same thing here. Click that one, and yes, it is at temperature. And again, there, a little bit more readable. And so we need a return. Now remember here, we might have placed that logic to say how many times it looped around in order to avoid an infinite loop, but let's not get into that. Then back, and then for symmetry's sake, there we go. Okay, so then we had set timer, and then we could just do this, but to make it look nice, we can do that. Oh, close enough. So then the other thing was that fork and join, So here are the two symbols, fork and join. And there's a horizontal and a vertical. Let's go with the horizontal. And just drop that in there. Looks kind of unassuming. We connect to it, and then we have the two options. So we had like giving yourself enough space here. Gotta put it in the middle. And then just connect them together. And then later on, you'll have two more notice if they get too wide, if, like some of these might be too wide, you can just put a, oh no, oh I know, okay, I'm going to get this. If you select the text, I'm pretty certain you were able to get this into two parts. Okay, that's what I'm trying to do. So to keep the diagram from getting too wide, making it difficult to, you have to click on the outside one. There we go. You can, resize this. Oops. So it takes more vertical space than horizontal space. Otherwise, the diagram gets super wide, for a more complex diagram. And then now we had a join. So just go, there's a join. And remember, we have to join both paths. And then I don't know what the trick is. It was spread frosting on cake. And then there's a couple of other steps, but we'll just cut to the chase. We need to stop. And then that's that. And you can save that. Obviously. Just use save. Okay. Just obviously the save symbol would be save. Like I say, it's early. You can select everything and then use the arrows and the control arrows to spine movement. That's kind of nice. It's like, like most drawing programs. All right, the other thing I wanted to demonstrate is the use of the swim lanes. So let's start another diagram. You can right click where you want to place it and then create diagram and create activity diagram and a new, and I get rid of the frame. So now we have two. Let's say, come on. Oh, I have to do it down here. Okay, so now we're going to, now remember the idea, and you can look at the slides. If we're modeling the interaction between two, now they're called actors, but two parties, in our diagram, and typically that would be interaction between the user of the system and the system itself. So the customer and an e-com system, and the user's interaction is through some kind of GUI, but still it's useful to to figure that out, to describe the interaction, to build use cases if you're interested. So user, and then the second one, system. And of course I'm right clicking and just dragging that out a little bit. Oh, I like that. I didn't know that's a new feature. Labels it. They really do a nice job. It's a fairly reasonably priced bit of software. Anyway, enough. We need a start symbol just like before. And so maybe we're modeling, logging on, something ridiculously easy. So we're still using the same things. Now, you probably wouldn't use fork anymore, not in this scenario, but we can use task. So I'll just double task and user select login, from the screen. And there we go. And then system. And so what we're saying is obviously the user takes this action, which causes the system to do this, and then the user into that screen, enters the ID and password, and the validates the account. And let's see, how detailed I want to get. So obviously there's two options, two outcomes to this. You can either work or not work. So if it works, let's do that first. It will present, well, yeah, presents users homepage. And see, it's getting a little, and so, and then if it doesn't work, and see that obviously a little bit wide. I think it's confused because I'm on the border. So you're not selling yourself, you're Astah. There we go. So here's where it's up to you. Now you can drag that back if you want. We'll need another one. Now they're kind of overlapping each other, so I need you can like drag that out like that. Validates account. So the two options. Oops. Two option days up. Valid. Invalid. So then if it's invalid, did it run out of space? It's interesting. Did I hit return when I typed valid? Yes, I did. Or invalid. There we go. Like that. And again, kind of make it readable. So let's see. Presents user's homepage, and then user. Well, that's kind of it. That's it for this scenario. Oops. Shoot. There we go. Control Z out of that. So, in fact, I kind of actually want to do this. And again, I'm being a little bit. What happened to invalid? Oh, there it goes. And so then, back to that. Valid presents homepage, and that's the end of the scenario. Otherwise, we're not gonna. We try to focus, and this is really more of a use case. So I'm talking about how to define the use case between the user and the system. And I was just trying to define for our course, for this course, we're trying to demonstrate swim lanes, but that would be the end of that scenario, and that. Oh, that's a start. My bad. There. And that'd be it. So, just check our flow. So this is like we're modeling interaction. User is assumed to be on the site, right? That could be something we add in the text for the definition of the use case. We say user is assumed to be on the site homepage. So a generic homepage, not specific to the user. And they select a login control, and it presents a log. System responds to that by presenting the login screen, and then the user enters their ID into that field. They enter ID and password, and you can read this, but you can follow the logic, and it's very useful. I mean, so like perhaps initially the designers didn't consider the account needed to be validated and took them right to the home page. And so again, this is like, a breaking down a task. And of course, this is a very simple task, like I said. But anyway, and again, the point is too is it shows the interaction, breaks down the interaction between the action taken by the user and the action taken by the system, which triggers an action by the user, and that's how the user back and forth. The user does something, system responds, user responds to that, back and forth, and it's very useful, very nice way of doing it, and not that uncommon. Okay, so. But of course, this is more or less what you're going to be putting together. Well, unless, of course, like I say, you're going to model the interaction between the user and your system, which would be an excellent topic for your process, or just a standalone activity diagram. Again, save it, and once you're finished, and then to get out of that, and then here's my. So finally, you're ready to submit. So I need, in order for me to grade it, to keep me sane, you need to make sure that you include your name and the team member. And then I would be nice if you'd put like 001, your section number. But the folder it's in will let me know the section number, but it doesn't hurt. Okay, and then just drop that file into the box folder that you were mailed a link to, and for your section, and you're done. And so is this video. So hope that was useful.